Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Futurama Season 2, Episode 10 of my show, which is also going to be about Episode 10. And Episode 10 in Season 2 of the Futurama series is known as Put Your Head on My Shoulders. But before I start talking about it, I just want to mention two things. As you guys know, I just recently, my parents finally managed to get me a PS5, so I did a video for that, yesterday. So that's why I didn't do this video yesterday, because I did that, video, and I figured I'd do the first Futurama video, the first of two Futurama videos that I'm gonna do this week, the day after. So that's why I'm doing this one now. So this is gonna count as the first Futurama video, and then the second one will come probably tomorrow or whenever the next day is. But anyway, now getting back into it, this is History of Futurama Season 2, Episode 10, and which is also about Episode 10, and Episode 10 is known as Put Your Head on My Shoulders. Now basically, this is actually the first, you guys remember when I did the 8th video for this season, which was a Christmas-based episode. I said it was the first of two episodes that were going to be based off of a holiday. Now this is the second of those two, because this is the first one for season 2 where it's going to take place on Valentine's Day, and then that'll happen again in one of the later seasons. I can't really remember which one. I'm going to have to double check it on Disney Plus to be sure. But this one is, so this holiday episode is based around Valentine's Day and stuff. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Sorry about that. And I'm sorry, before I start talking about this video, I just want to mention one last thing. I'm sorry I didn't record this sooner. It's just I had to use the bathroom, so I had to get out of my chair in order to use the bathroom. Okay, but enough getting off topic. Now I'm going to get into the actual storyline of the episode here. The way this episode first starts off is the Planet Express crew are watching a commercial advertisement for cars that are at this robot dealer's car shop. Now the funny thing is, the robot car dealer's name is known as Malfunctioning Eddie. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Now that's a character that's gonna show up again in one of the later seasons. I'm not gonna explain this episode name, but it just has to do with when another character will get first introduced as well. So that's all I'm gonna give you for that part anyway. And then after Amy sees the commercial ad, she tells them that her parents said if she got all B's, they buy her a vote, and she got all C's, so she wanted to get a car instead of the vote, which is, I think it's because of the letter and stuff, which is kind of a good thing, because, you know, C is the first letter used for the word car. And anyway, basically they're at the car dealership. Well, actually, when they decide to go to the car dealership, Bender tags along with them because he tells them that, mind if I tag along? I gotta bring my ass in for servicing. Well, the funny thing is, the reason why he tags along with them in this episode is because he's gotta bring his rear end, his ass part of his body, in for servicing, because the warranty on it says that it'll explode at a low speed collision. In a low speed collision, and then when Fry hears Bender say that part, he's like, "No wonder you've been staying at the back of conga lines lately." Oh my god, I'm sorry, that's just hilarious. Oh my god. The reason why he was staying at the back of conga lines was because of the warranty saying that his head could explode at a low speed collision. And now that I brought that up, that's actually going to lead into the funny bit of an ending with this episode. Oh, but I'm going to explain what that ending is after when I get to that point. I just wanted to bring it up since I mentioned it this time. Anyway, what happens is they go to the malfunctioning Eddie's car dealership to purchase the car. And while they're there, this guy who's the salesperson for malfunctioning Eddie, his name's Victor, who's another recurring character in this series, because he'll show up again in the same episode that I mentioned where malfunctioning Eddie will show up. But like I said, I'm going to save that for a later date. Basically, who Victor is in this series at the car dealership is the one who helps malfunctioning Eddie out with the selling of the cars. So he's like the salesperson for malfunctioning Eddie's company and stuff. And then while Leela and Amy are looking at cars and stuff, Fry is also looking at something, but this man tells him that he spotted a fine thing, and he said that it is. And then the person that he was talking to wasn't mentioning what he was looking at, but he meant a type of car, which is a Ford car, which is called a Ford Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird. Oh my god! I'm sorry. A Ford Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird. Oh my god! That's such a funny name for a vehicle. Oh my god! If that actually does happen, if Ford ever does come up with a vehicle like that in real life, that'll make me laugh. Regardless, I don't know if that is actually gonna happen. I mean, who knows? But if it does, that's still gonna be funny regardless. 'Cause, Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird. Because that name is a tongue twister. Oh, okay. Enough laughing. Enough. Anyway, while they're doing that, Bender is getting his ass serviced because of what he mentioned before, because of the warranty saying that it could explode at a low speed collision. And the mechanic that's there tells him that he put shock absorbent bumpers on its ass and that they wouldn't explode. But when Bender looks at his ass, he's like, "You sure have defaced a national treasure. I demand you return my buttocks to their original glory." So basically, he asked the guy to change it back and get rid of the shock absorbing bumpers, which are basically these two female butt cheeks that are just welded onto him. And then the guy tells him that, "All right, but sooner or later that ass is gonna blow. And if it does, I just hope you're not mooning somebody you care about." Anyway, basically what happens is, Amy's trying to convince Layla that Victor said that it was a car for her, and after she sees the sticker price, she says that the car says, the sticker price for the car says it costs $50,000, but they'll only go as high as, and that's when Amy mentioned $60,000, and then Leela gets annoyed by that, And then Victor goes to talk to malfunctioning Eddie, and that's when Leela tells Amy that you're not supposed to go up from the sticker price, which is technically true. You're not, in a case like that, you're not supposed to go upward from the sticker price, you're supposed to go downward. It's common sense, but Amy's reasoning for it in the episode is that she said that she thought it was an auction. Oh my god. So it's a common mistake on her part in the series, and because because she thought it was like an auction or something. So, because in auctions, you always go up from the original sticker price instead of down. Anyway, so again, like a little minor mistake, or just a little bit of confusion on her part. Anyway, basically what happens is after that, as I told you for that part, Victor went in to go talk to malfunctioning Eddie, and then they were ecstatic that she was willing to pay $60,000, and then he comes back and says that's not happening, and he starts exploding again, and then basically what happens is, Amy decides to take her new car out for a ride on the planet Mercury, and she's wondering if anyone would like to come with them, and then basically Fry decides to go with her, and then basically they go to Mercury, and then while they're driving the car on Mercury, basically what happens is they're fiddling around with the car after they pass past the only gas station on the planet, and because they're fiddling with the car using like the AC and the heat and the margarita mix stuff and the pop-up machine, that causes it to use up the car to use up all its fuel, which causes it to run out of gas. And then basically what happens is after that, after Amy's car breaks down, she decides to use her phone to call the Subtuple A, which is an automotive club that she's a part of. And the phone is actually connected to the car itself because it's a video phone. And while they wait for the mechanic to come pick them up, they're in the car, and then the guy shows up and looks at the window, like the windshield, and he's like, "Yo!" And then he gets a little disappointed because what he sees is I'm actually playing cards against. He's like, "Oh!" And then Fry basically tells her that while he's telling them, do they want to do it, and then does she want to do it, and then he said yeah, and then the tow truck driver that's towing the car is saying that basically, "Yo!" Oh my god. Anyway, in the next scene, what happened? Oh, speaking of which, before I continue, I just want to mention something. I'm gonna backtrack here to this other part of the episode that I sort of skipped over, but I'm backtracking to it now, so it's no harm done. Basically, there's this segment with Hermes where he's yelling at someone in his office, and he's like, "And now you're asking me for a day off? Get out of here, you worthless piece of garbage." And then basically when he leaves his office, basically Leela asks him, because she wonders who he was yelling at, and he says that he was yelling at himself because he asked himself for a Valentine's Day off, but he was in no mood for his shenanigans. His getting back into what I was mentioning earlier, in the next scene, it's after Valentine's Day, and then Hermes is asking everyone how their day was and did any of them spend Valentine's Day together, and then basically Fry and Amy say yes, and then they're all shocked by that, and then Amy says that they ran out of fuel on Mercury, and one thing sort of led to another, and blah, 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 and then basically Fry's congratulating him, and I mean, and she says that she's rich, and she's obviously got other qualities, and the funny thing with Bender is he's gonna do this sort of thing where he does this where it's this scam of a Valentine's Day dating session, which anyway, and that's actually gonna lead into what's gonna happen with the ending, because anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way. And then basically what happens is, after that Fry and Amy are causing a ruckus and inside the closet, and like they're not actually causing a ruckus, but Hermes wants them out of there so he can get something out of it. But then Zoidberg stops him because he said that if he interrupts them while they're doing the mating ritual, the male will become aggravated, which is, I think he's referencing his species when they're doing the mating rituals, which is, I think, a reference to the previous episode that I covered. Anyway, previous episode for this season that I covered. Anyway, video for the previous episode of this season that I covered. Anyway, Fry says that it's working. They actually think they're making out, and then afterwards he wonders why aren't they, and then she said that she doesn't know, and then they start making out, and then after that, they basically make these plans to go to Europa for Valentine's Day, and then basically afterwards what happens is Amy mentions to him that she's glad that they were able to hang out, and then that's when Fry gets upset, where he's like, everything was working fine, and then she had to mention hanging out, and then he starts ranting about how Amy's basically smothering him, and so on and so forth, and which is basically, he's contradicting himself what he said before, because all Amy said was hanging out, but I guess Fry took that literally, because with some people, with a boyfriend, girlfriend kind of thing, it starts with hanging out, and then leads to dating, and then essentially it spiraled, the relationship spiraled out of control. I'm not stating myself because I'm not in a relationship or anything, but that's just what I interpret from the episode anyway. And then basically Fry asks Leela to come with them to Europa, asks her to come with him and Amy to Europa because he doesn't want to be alone with Amy. And then basically afterward, Zoidberg hears about that, and he mentions that they're having a picnic, and then basically Zoidberg mentions about the free meal, so he goes along with them, and then they're driving the car, and then basically after driving it, as they're driving it, first what happens is Zoidberg starts eating the food that's in the picnic basket, and then Fry and Amy start having a small argument about who. Fry says that they're spending Valentine's Day together, and then Amy mentions about that herself, and then Fry's like, oh, so now we're spending Valentine's Day together, and then she wonders what he means, and then he tells Amy that that's enough, he's got to talk, and he tells Zoidberg to basically take the wheel, and then he basically tells her to thing about that has to do with chocolate and so on and so forth and blah blah blah, and basically it's his way of breaking up with her. But as they're about to break up, Zoidberg accidentally tears the steering wheel off the car, which then causes them to crash crash into an iceberg, which basically causes Zoidberg's not Zoidberg's, but Fry's body had to be detached from his body, and then basically Zoidberg has to basically sew it onto Amy's body, and then until they can get his body back, and then the body part is actually going to lead into what's going to happen with Bender, what I mentioned before. Anyway, when Fry sees that his head is on Amy's shoulder, Amy said that it looks like they'll be spending a lot more time together. And then basically after that, Fry freaks out, and then Amy's wondering what Fry wanted to talk about before they crashed, and Fry mentions that he's technically, breaking up with her, sort of thing. And then what happens is after that, Amy's getting ready with Fry, and he's getting ready because she's got a Valentine's Day with this guy named Gary because Fry sort of dumped her essentially. And then when Fry hears that part, he talks to Leela about it and said that Amy's got a date with this person, and he's gonna have to stick around and do it with her because he's sold onto her body at this point, and he's wanting her to go with them so that he doesn't it's not the lonesome thing, it's just so that he doesn't get annoyed with it. And then basically that's when Bender sets up their dates for basically Fry and the funny thing about that is the dates that he sets up for them are just from a bus station, as it's stated. Because anyway, I just wanted to get that part out of the way since I'm kind of getting close to the end of the episode here. Anyway, while Amy's getting ready, she tells Gary that she'll be a couple of minutes, and then after she gets ready, Fry wonders what she meant by a couple minutes because she's ready right now, and then she mentions that it's more fun to make them wait, and then he says, "Oh my God, that's true," and he basically hits himself with the part of Amy's body that he controls, and after that, what happens is they're on the date, and then Bender sets them up. Oh, before I finish this episode, because I'm getting close to the end here, there was a scene in the episode where Amy and Fry were playing ping pong together, which was basically they were using Amy's body because it was her head and Fry's head on her body, and they were playing against each other and stuff. And then basically what happens is afterward, now getting back into what I was saying, they're at the date that Amy has with Gary, and then basically Fry sees Leela come in, and then basically Bender sets Fry up with Tunya, who's bus station, and then he also sets Leela up with the bus driver from the bus station, and then when they mention the Nightly thing, they basically fall in love, and then basically Leela's like, "Bender, did you get our dates from a bus station?" And then basically what happens after that is afterward what happens is after the date segment of the episode is over, Zoidberg manages to basically surgically attach Fry's head back onto his body, which meant he had to surgically detach Fry's head from Amy's body, so she had a scar on her body caused from when Fry's head got taken off of her. And then she said that if she ever gets lonely, she'll just think of this scar that she has, and she'll think of him. And then basically, they're telling him to be careful with his head attached to his neck because of the fact that it could cause involuntary body functions like a kicking and stuff. And then basically, Bender is saying that he did a good job setting them up with dates, and then basically Leela says that he doesn't really think that he set them up with dates, and then he's like, didn't I, Leela? Didn't I? And then he winks, and then it does this thing where the scene fades to black, and then Leela's like, no, you didn't! You just scrounged up dates at a bus station. And then basically, Bender... So basically what the creators of the show, I'm guessing what they did with that part of the episode is they did a sort of, personally, a fake out, making you think the episode was over when it actually wasn't. Oh my god. Anyway, and then basically, after Leela says he just scrounged up their dates from the bus station, and then basically he said that, what isn't that what Valentine's Day is about? And then basically they start tapping on Fry's shoulder, and then he's like, watch the neck, and then his leg causes an involuntary flux which hits Bender's ass, and which makes it start to explode, which is why he shouldn't have got rid of those bumpers. And then he's like, as it's exploding, he's like, my ass, my beautiful ass. And that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can. And I'll see you guys next time for the next video. But until then, like I always tell you with this series, fun on a bun.